Hello engineers, welcome to another edition of our Autocad tutorial series. Today I'll be taking you through the annotation and the property panels. The first function under our annotation is the text, and by clicking through the drop down arrow here, I'm having either a multi-line or a single line. By clicking through the first one, which is the multi-line, specify opposite corner. I've specified the first point, I'm now specifying the other point. So you start to type. You observed after I typed, here is what I typed. I'm having service room. All this annotation, that's how it was created. Although based on my experience, the best advice is that as an engineer, we work on a reference project. I mean on an architectural project. My architectural use this kind of annotation. So instead of creating mine, you can just copy his own annotation CO or CO copy. So you copy his own annotation and you paste it to where you want to use yours, and you start to edit it. MEP engineer, enter. The difference between a singular and a multi-line is that you observe now I'm having two lines. If I press X enter, it has splitted these my lines to different annotation. Let's scale it. Here's my scale. Specify base point. I'm specifying this place 5. Now we're having this as first and this as the second. This is a single line, this is another single line. Delete. The next under my annotation is dimension, but this dimension is used by architects, structural engineers. MEP engineers don't use it, and I won't advise you to be using it. The next is this dimension, but we're having a drop down here. That means we're having plethora functions hidden. We're having a linear dimension, align dimension, angular dimension, arc dimension, different dimensions. But ever since I've started AutoCAD, these are the two we majorly used. That's the linear or the align. Let's practice the first one, which is the linear. I click on the linear dimension. Linear means along a straight or single plane. Let's move this our furniture out first. This, I come to my move and I specify my base point. I've moved it out. So I'm to use the first dimension, which is the linear dimension. Specify first extension line or origin. Let's choose this place to be our first extension line and this place to be our second extension line. You observed it gave me 131. Now let's practice the other dimension line. Align, also this. You now observe the dimension face is different. What actually brought this is that the linear will give you a dimension line along a plane, while the aligned will give you a dimension exactly the way you set your mouse. Let's now practice it again. I click here linear dimension, so I'm clicking at this point. Just press F3. F3 means snap. I want to snap this edge. F3. So I snap. This is my dimension line for this. Come here again, align. Now let's delete the other one. What I want you to understand is that the first dimension line I created was linear dimension line, and I snapped my object here, and I snapped it here again. But this is the line dimension line it gave to me, which is a linear, which is the dimension of these two edges along a linear plane. While the other one I did, despite I did it the same way, but I choose this align dimension line, it gave me the dimension line along the way I set it on my object. That's the difference between the two dimension line. The next is the ladder, which is mainly used by the architect. You can look through my project now. Here are the ladder lines. Here are the, you observe I'm having a line with an arrow head. That's what ladder lines implies. I rarely use it. The next is the table. Engineers, specifically MEP engineers, don't use AutoCAD tables. All your table requirements operations are to be done in Excel, so we don't use AutoCAD table. Now let's come to the other panels, which is the property panels. With my experience in the industry, this is the panel I value the most. Although most professionals will tell you that the layer panel is the most valuable panels, but to me, and with what I'll be showing you, and with my experience in the industry, these panels, you need to understand it a lot. The first one is the match properties. The match properties simply means matching two objects to have the same properties, either annotation properties, color properties, layer properties, anything that can be matched between the two objects. For example, now I'm having this kind of line now, which is red color. If I come here to click my match property, it said I should select my destination object. By selecting this, it changed it to red, which means the red color here is the only face that can be matched. Likewise, the layer, it said S grid here, clicking here to S grid. Thus, we are having the color and the layer as the only thing that can be matched here. Let's try another one. This is my furniture here. I clicked on it. I come to match property. Said I should select destination object. I'm selecting here the color also and the layer. That's how we use match. We do use it a lot to give objects the same property. After then, the first here is the object color. Here we do use it to specify color for our object. For example, this wall that was changed. By clicking on it, I can come to my color here and I choose any of the color. And in AutoCAD, we have three types of colors. By going through these more colors, we have three types of colors in AutoCAD. We have the index color, the true color, and the one I will advise you guys to stick to is the index color here. You'll be having your colors with a reference number. For example, now I click here, which is my color 10. I click here, which is my color 20. This will help you a lot in your AutoCAD project. I'm clicking cancel now. The next one is the line weight. You observe in this our architectural project, I'm having these thick lines and I'm having this one because in AutoCAD everything is line, just that your own technical experience will differentiate or will explain what a line means. They don't need to tell me here that the lines I'm having here represent a window, likewise the one I'm having here represents a wall. But back to the topic of discussion, you observe the lines I'm having here which represent a wall is very thick, is because I'm having a very thick line width, but for this I'm having a thin line width. So let's just use this as practice. I clicked on this and I select here, maybe I select here, the line width have increased. Let's repeat it. I clicked on it and I still come down to select here. So that's what line width implies. It will be increasing the width of the object. The next, which is the last here, is the line type. What line type implies is that we can have different kind of line. For example now, let's just play with it by drawing many lines. I click on my line, space bar to repeat the operation. If you intend to draw a straight line, you can just press F8. It means auto. After we've drawn our line, by clicking on the first line and I come to my line type, I have different line types here. You can just click your own preference. So let's click here. You observed it changed the line here. By clicking on this, let's come here. By clicking on this one doesn't change. So let's come to the third one. By clicking on this, you can come to others. We are having this global scale factor and the current scale factor. I will advise you guys to be setting it to 1 1. We'll later come back to this aspect because this is where our printing properties start. So let's click 1 1. You observe the line type of transverse. I'm having this which was similar to this before. So let's click this one now and change the line type again. I'm having my track now. Because I changed it to 1 1, all my line type came broadly. That's how line type works. Hope you enjoy this short tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe.